Hello dear children. Today we will continue with the third chapter, that is applied history, and we have already seen 3.1, that is what is applied history, and 3.2, that is applied history and research in various fields. Today we will begin with 3.3, that is applied history and our present. So people often ask about the practical value of history. Practical value is how is it applicable, or it is only theoretical, uh, or we can have some practical use of its literal use of history in our day-to-day life. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history answers this question as well. The visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, attraction towards them. The visible and invisible relics. Relics means objects surviving from the earlier time. So sometimes we come across few objects which might be visible or which might be invisible. Now invisible can be oral sources and visible can be any object. So we come across such objects uh, in our life, and that um, such objects which relate to the past, but we have it now or we come across it now. So we nurture some kind of curiosity. We have some curiosity, what must be this, what is its use, when was it used, or when was it found somewhere. So all these things we have curiosity about, and attraction towards them. We feel attracted towards them. Like some time ago there were quite pics viral on the WhatsApp that there was a mermaid found on some ship or something. So then you feel attraction, you try to find out more about that object. We wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. Now, when we come to know about something new or something different, which might be related to the past, so we feel attraction towards it, we feel curiosity towards it, and we feel that we should know more about that thing. because it because they represent the creativity, the creative thoughts, the different thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. Ancestors means um, a person related to you who lived long time ago. So your ancestor means your great 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 grandfather or something of that sort. In our heritage, it is our heritage. It helps in building our identity. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. So now this is our heritage. This is what has been heredited to us. So it is our heritage. It helps in building our identity. Like our surname is from our ancestors we have got. So that becomes our identity. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. So the more we know about our ancestors, it links us to our origin, where we came from, what is our origin. Hence, it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for future, for our benefit as well as for the benefit of future generation. And therefore, we should preserve and conserve it not only for ourselves but also for the next generations to come. Applied history is concerned with the representation and conservation, with the preservation and conservation of our heritage and make it accessible to people. So applied history uh, is about the preservation and conservation of our heritage, and it should be made accessible. Accessible means easily reachable to the people. Heritage management creates opportunities of employment. In brief, applied history can be described as understanding of our present with the help of history and finding right direction for the benefit of our future. So basically, applied history is understanding our past and present, and which will definitely help us to find the right direction of our future, in our future. Moving ahead, 3.4, management of cultural and natural heritage. Cultural heritage. So what is cultural heritage? It is the form of human creation. It is of two types: tangible and intangible. Tangible means which we can see, and intangible means which we cannot see. So, what is cultural heritage? It is a form of human creation, human creativity, and there are two types of it, that is tangible and intangible cultural heritage. The tangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings, etc. So, tangible cultural heritage includes the monuments or s- buildings or artifacts. Artifacts are ornament, tools, or other objects made by human beings in the olden times. Then, manuscripts means a book or document, um, can be a music written by hand, or it can be typed as well. So basically it is, we can say, composition or writings related to the past. Intangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes the following things. It includes oral traditions and their language. Now, traditions means customs, beliefs, or methods that have existed for a long time without changing. Now, those things which have been followed for a long time without any changes to it is known as tradition. So, intangible cultural heritage includes oral tradition and their language. Traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge is again actions and behavior of a particular culture, can be like our Indian culture is we do namaste. So that is our oral tradition which has been um, followed. Social customs and rituals of celebrating festivals. So there we have some specific customs, and we have rituals of celebrating the festival. Like particular festival has to be celebrated in a particular way. So we have that tradition, old customs of celebrating the festivals. Now, rituals is a series of acts or performed in a series of action performed in a precisely order. Like same, like Diwali is celebrated as per our tradition. There are few differences in each family. There might be differences in each family considering the tradition in their family what is followed. Styles of performing arts then create certain traditional skills, communities, groups who represent such traditions, customs, and skills. So few performing arts are also inherited through our culture, and certain traditional skills like some art form or something of that sort, then communities groups who represent such traditions, customs and skills. There are certain groups and customs and skills which do represent communities or groups. Natural heritage. The concept of natural heritage gives importance to the thought of biodiversity. It includes the following things: fauna, flora, ecology, and geomorphic characteristics, which is crucial for sustaining the flora and fauna of a particular region. Now, now fauna means animals of particular region or habitat of or geography or geographical period. Flora means plants, plants of different types. Ecology means relations of organisms with one another and surrounding. So that is the ecology. Now, geographic characteristics means relating to the form of landscape and other natural features. Sustaining means continue. So, natural heritage includes animals, then animals of particular region, habitat, or geographical period. Flora means plants, and ecology means relation of the organisms with one another and their surrounding. So, so all these things like the plants, the animals, and their surrounding, and the landscape and other natural features is crucial for sustaining, that is to continue the flora and fauna of a particular region. So now if there are a lot of climatic changes or a lot of change in the soil or something, then the natural heritage will not survive. Like we have seen that there are so many animals which have now become extinct, they do not exist anymore. It is essential for the benefit of future generations to preserve our heritage. Now, for future generations, it is very necessary that we preserve our natural as well as cultural heritage. Otherwise, they will never come to know about the natural and cultural heritage which was followed by us. UNESCO, the global organization, has announced some directives with the objective of promoting the cultural and natural heritage. On the basis of those directives, list of sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. So now uh, to declare World Heritage sites, the UNESCO has uh, has announced has announced some directives. Directives means guidelines, on the basis of which they are segregated. Like it is decided whether this site has to be uh, can be declared as a World Heritage Site or not. It can be a natural or cultural heritage. So on the basis of those directives, on the basis of those guidelines, the sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. The list of UNESCO's World Natural Heritage now includes Western Ghats, the Khas Plateau, and the district in the district Satara. It also is also a part of the Western Ghats. So now the list of UNESCO also includes uh, UNESCO's World Natural Heritage also includes Western Ghats and the Khas Plateau, which is also a part of the Western Ghats. Now, children, here are the lists of Indian tradition declared as oral and intangible heritage. Then, World Cultural Heritage Sites in India. Then, World Natural Heritage Sites, and a mixed site is also uh, mentioned here. So, you can just go through the list. So, children, here you can see the Kailash temple of Verul. Sorry, this is the um, very ancient temple. Now, cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. The work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under the jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India State Departments of Archaeology. So now basic aspect or the main aspect of applied history is the cultural and natural heritage management. It includes conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage uh, and is done by the Archaeological Survey of India and India State Departments for Archaeology. Now, conservation and preservation means um, conservation means prevention of wasteful use, and preservation means maintain. Besides intact, that is Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage is actively working in this field. The work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. They need to be duly aware of the cultural, social, and political histories of the heritage sites. Principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. So now, besides the Archaeological Survey of India and the India State Departments of Archaeology, there is an organization called as INTAC, that is the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage. It also actively works in this field, and the work of conservation and preservation of this cultural and natural heritage, it requires participation of experts from various fields. um, Experts, because they should have the thorough knowledge of how it can be conserved or preserved, and they should also have a thorough knowledge of what that thing relates to. So it is very important that they should have the knowledge of history relating to that particular heritage. They do need to be aware of the cultural, social, and political histories of the heritage site. So principles of applied history are useful in creating awareness among them. So that is how awareness is created about the principles of applied history among them. Thus, the operations necessary for the conservation, preservation, and development of the heritage site can be handled without causing any change in its original state. So, when we talk about the preservation and conservation of the natural heritage sites, it is very important that the um, site should be handled without causing any change in the original state. Because if the original state is changed, then the main essence or the main thing which makes it a natural heritage site, that will not no longer exist. The local social structure and psychology of the local people, challenges faced by them in the present situation, and their expectations can be surveyed in details. Now, it is very important that the local people, um, their psychology should be considered, it should be kept in mind. Now, sometimes it so happens that the natural site or cultural, that particular monument is located in a very interior, or the roads are very narrow, and therefore it causes inconvenience to the people. But then the psychology of the local people, um, and the challenges faced by them in the present situation, everything has to be kept in mind, and a detailed survey has to be done about it. Due precautions can be taken to avoid hurting sentiments of the local people while completing the projects of conservation, preservation, and development of a heritage site. So, whenever there is a preservation or conservation or development of a heritage site going on, that time it is very important that the archaeological department does not hurt the sentiments of the people. They have some special values attached to the heritage site, and that should not be harmed. Participation of the local people in the project can be felicitated. So, if the local people participate in the project, they can be felicitated. Felicitated means praise. They can be given some memento. They can be called upon stage, and praised in front of a lot of people, so that they can get a motivation. Others can also get the motivation from that. Systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in a creative way and create better opportunities of livelihood. So, if the local people are trained, and if they are involved um, in this work of preservation and conservation, it can very good help them to earn some livelihood opportunities. They can earn something out of it. And if we take the help of the local people, the local challenges of the people there reduces. Now, moving ahead to 3.5, affiliated professional fields. Knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with regard to respective legal provisions and public policies in the following fields. So, knowledge of history can be helpful in the following fields: museums and archives, present preservation and conservation, historical sites, tourism and hospitality, then entertainment and mass media. Let us see the do you know box. The earliest museum, that is the 6th century BCE, in the world was discovered during the excavation of the at the city of Ur in Mesopotamia. The excavation were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley. He lived from 1922 to 1934. This museum, okay, this excavation was done between 1922 to 1934. This museum was built by the Princess of Mesopotamia. Her name was Enigaldi. She herself was the curator of the museum. Curator means in charge or keeper or the person who maintains the museum. A noteworthy feature of the museum is the clay tablet inscribed with the descriptions of exhibited artifacts. The unique feature of the museum is that there is a clay tablet, if you can see in the picture, and on that clay tablet is inscribed the description of exhibited artifacts. So whatever artifacts are exhibited there are inscribed on the clay artifact. The next do you know box says Indian Museum at Kolkata. The Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society in 1840. Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist, was the founder of the first and the first curator of the museum. Botanist is a scientific study of plants. The photograph of the museum seen here is dated to 1905. The museum has three main departments, that is arts, archaeology, and anthropology. Now, anthropology means study and development of human societies and culture. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publication, photography, exhibition presentation, model making, training, history, sorry, library, and security. So these are the other other departments which are attached to the museum. Every field mentioned here requires expert personnel with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museum curators, sociologists, archive management professionals, legal experts, skilled photographers, etc. Of course, this is just a representative list. The help of experts from many more fields is required. So there has to be an expert in the each and every field. These are just the few names they have disclosed, but then there are so many people in the experts in their fields are required during these projects. These experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites, the historical background of the structural remains and artifacts. Projects in the field of applied history can create various opportunities for these professionals. So, if there is ample knowledge or if people are aware and capable of the knowledge related to these fields, they have a lot of scope in this profession. Let us go up to the it is interesting to know archives represent and store old documents, official records, old films, etc. The National Archive of India is in New Delhi. Every state in India maintains its archives independently. Archives with a distinct purpose. The main office of the National Film Archive of India is located in Pune, Maharashtra. It was published in it was established in 1964 as the media unit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of the Indian government. It served three objectives. The first objective was to search and obtain rare Indian films and to preserve the heritage of the benefit for the benefit of future generations. The second objective was to categorize the important aspects of films, to create documentation and catalogs, and carry out research in the field. Catalogs is a complete list. So um, list out the important aspects of films, to create a documentation and carry out research in the field. And the third objective was to establish a center for dissemination of films culture. Dissemination is spreading information of the film culture. So in this lesson we learned about the role of applied history in public training programs for understanding the importance of history, for creating social awareness regarding the conservation preservation of our cultural and natural heritage, using knowledge of history for this purpose, to enhance the professional skills of people and to develop industrial commercial field, to carry out preparatory work and plan for effective implementation of heritage projects, etc. It is essential to avoid vandalizing of history and public places and to ensure that they are preserved for the benefit of future generations. So here we have seen in this lesson that why applied history is important, because we need the experts from all these professionals and to um, to have an effective implementation of the plan to preserve, conserve the natural and cultural heritage sites, for the development of or even the curators, for the guides, and so many things which are related. And why is it essential? It is essential to avoid um, vandalizing of historic and public places. Vandalizing means deliberately destroy or damage the historical uh, places, and to ensure that we should also ensure that they are preserved for the next generation, future generations also. So that was it in this chapter. Thank you so much, children.